My name is Laura Mason. Welcome to Heart to Heaven. Now, some of my first followers may have known this channel as Meditations in Motion, and that was the name for my church class. But I also did a class at the hospital called Mindful Movement, and it got a little confusing with all those M words. So it's been changed to Heart to Heaven because that is the phrase I use most in both classes, referring not only to your posture, coming up with dignity, tucking your glutes in your gut, bringing your heart to heaven, but also your mental and spiritual attitude, raising them to something higher or considering focusing them on God. Now, if you get a chance, I would be honored if you would hit the subscribe button, and if you like what happens today, hit the like button. I would really appreciate that. And again, a shout out to Louise. Thank you. I make videos very difficult because right now I'm videoing myself and then he does all the edits to make it look better. So we've been focusing on several different themes. We talked about beginnings, and then practice with continuity. It becomes our growth. And then we focus on the source for our growth, the reason why or the motivation. If we have a why for our goals, we're more likely to follow through. Then lastly, we have talked about focus on the source or our motivation. Again, if our source is something extrinsic, like the finish line of a race we are having, it's rather anticlimactic and lonely. It's just a line. If it's more intrinsic, like I'm doing it to feel healthier so I can enjoy playing with my grandkids more, or I'm doing it for a sense of accomplishment so I can tackle other challenges, again, it's more satisfying and we're more likely to follow through. Now today we're going to focus on self-care. Why? Because once you get your source, you need to protect it with boundaries, and this one good way is self-care, because we have fountains for our source trying to work against the drains in our life, the demands, the people, the work schedule. We have to keep that level up, and we do that by self-care. One of the examples that you may have heard that's almost legendary is sometimes we're like a plane going down, and what do you hear the stewardesses always say? Put the oxygen on yourself first before anybody else in your care. If you don't take care of yourself, there's nothing left for the other people around you. So today I'm doing this video from one of my favorite sources, a windy autumn day in our timber. It's just, again, nature is one of my sources that I thoroughly enjoy. And again, I invite you to find your own sources to do. Now, good self-care has already been the practices that you've already been doing through poses. So today is going to be a more thoughtful practice. We're going to focus on one of your sources, your breath. So first, to bring yourself into a state of mind of care for yourself, yet again, but the most important person right now. If you take care of you, you can take care of others. I would invite you to drop into your practice by closing your eyes for a moment and noting your breath. Without changing it, note where you feel it at in your body. Also note how many seconds in and how many seconds out it takes to breathe. We'll call this your baseline. And if any thoughts come into your mind, the past or the future, what you need to do, what you should have done, or just intrusive thoughts of right today, like your breath, just note it, but let it go. Either just let it go freely, or you can turn it over to the hands of God, knowing He'll bring it back to you when the time is right for Him to work on it with you. Continuing to note your breath, if you feel comfortable, I invite you to add 2 more seconds or 2 more counts to your breath in and your breath out. And as you do so, note if it changes where you feel the breath in your body. It may or may not change. And now I invite you to open your eyes and turn back to your regular breath. Again, there are many practices of self-care that I've brought up in the class. Having a little fun, doing something different, taking a different route to or back home from work, or doing something that makes you laugh. In our next video, we're going to be doing some balance poses, so that might be a good thing to try. Doing something, again, different or new. So right now we're going to focus on something different and new, I believe for most of you. We're going to do an exercise with our breath. It's called square breathing or box breathing. And it's called that because there's 4 points. First you inhale, and then you hold that breath, then you exhale, and then you hold again before you breathe in again. It's kind of like breathing more slowly, like we just did, but there's more control in it, and it helps to reduce the stress as there's more focus with it. At any time while we're doing this, if you feel uncomfortable or can't keep up with the breath, I ask you to go ahead and return back to your regular breathing. It may be difficult at first, but it'll become more natural to you as you continue to practice it. So let's try it. Here we go. Let's breathe in over the duration of a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Then exhale over a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. And then inhale again over a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? That's how it goes. So now we're going to go ahead and practice several cycles. The count of 4 is chosen because that's a typical relaxed breath. Some people may breathe deeper and longer, and if that's you, just go ahead and breathe on your own in that pattern. Or if it's shorter, just go ahead and shorten up your breath to a count of 2 or 3 if you need. But I'll use 4 as a kind of standard that's been established. So closing your eyes, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in over a count of 3, 4, hold it, 3, 4, exhale over a count, 3, 4, now hold, 2, 3, 4, and inhale, hold, exhale, hold. One more time. Inhale deeply, hold, and exhale, and hold, and breathe in again. Good job. Now another thing we can do for self-care, we might even consider pampering, is getting a massage. Now it always feels better when somebody else massages us rather than we do. And there's a scientific reason for that. We have more sensitivity in our fingers so that we can feel and touch. More of our brain is dedicated to feeling our fingers than the rest of our body. For example, our shoulder. So when we actually rub our shoulder with our fingers, we're actually feeling our fingers more than our shoulders. So whenever we use our fingertips, we're feeling a finger massage and not a neck massage or a shoulder massage. So you can rub yourself if you just don't use your fingertips, and you'll feel it more. So you can either use other parts of your body to massage your body, like the flat of your hand, or even if you make a fist, you can use your knuckles here, or your thumb, or your pinky space, or you can even use your elbow. I will even be showing you how to use your heel to rub your foot. Now, other things you can use are tools like a massage ball or a tennis ball, rolling it into the area, or specific massage tools. If anybody has questions on these, they can ask me in the comments and I will give you some ideas on where to get these and what they are. Muscle rollers are another great tool to get larger areas, or you can grab a shoulder up on it and just use a few of the beads that are rolling to go and do the massage. So right now I'm going to gently talk you through. I'm going to slowly talk you through how to gently massage yourself. This is a great thing to do in the morning before you get going, or at night while you're watching TV to help relax yourself, or just when it's stressed in the office. So first we're going to do our temples and our chin. You can separate your index fingers from your other three. We're going to use the whole flat of our hand and not our fingertip. And we're going to go to the sides of our ears, and we're going to slowly rub up and down, taking it to our temples and then back down through our jaw. And as you do this, to make it more effective, I want you to do it intentionally. In other words, be present, really feel it, and focus how you feel it in your body, on the jaws and temples. If you want to incorporate the breath to better focus, inhale on the upstroke and exhale on the downstroke. Slowly rubbing that, making it feel better. And then you can take your knuckles right here, or this bony part of your wrist right here, and slowly work in your jaw. We can hold a lot of tension here. Inhaling as you circle once, exhaling as you circle again. And another great way to be intentional and note how it feels, this tells you where you carry the tension in your body. Compare one area to the other. You may not have known that you carried your tension in your temples or in your jaw. And now we're going down, and we're going to do our shoulders. A lot of us carry it in our upper traps, or what I call our shrug muscles. And for that, you can use, again, your knuckles or a massage tool. And as you get there, sometimes it's kind of hard to reach. So go ahead and take the massage tool and then use your other hand to grip the area. Now, starting on one side, work from the outside of the edge of your shoulder all the way up, and this upper trap muscle goes all the way up, actually, into the base of your skull. That's why sometimes when you carry tension there, you might end up with a headache. And roll around, and maybe even tip your head away to get a little stretch while you're doing that. And now let's unwind. Take a deep breath, camel. Inhale, exhale, your shoulders down. And now let's go over to the other side. Take your tool, knuckle, and if you don't have a tool like this at home, again, a tennis ball, maybe even a very soft, like wooden spoon that's got a broad side to it, you can use that. Take your hand on the other side. And the bonus of this is you're actually getting a stretch on the back of your shoulder here as you roll around again from the outside of your shoulder, tip all the way up, and maybe even into your neck and into the base, tipping your head away. And as you learn these techniques, you can spend more time on each area as it feels better, or even feel free to pause the video if one area feels extra good. Another good place is your hands. They can get very tight. So you can either, if it's supported, use your elbow and rub on the hand and get the lump by your thumb and the lump by your pinky, the thenar, hypophenar, for those science geeks who want to know what that means, and roll that palm out. You spend a lot of time typing or at the computer, you might even want to work right into the forearm, up to the elbow, rubbing it out. You know, let's even give that area a stretch. Sit up, heart to heaven, and pull that hand back. Deep breath in, deep breath out, drop the shoulders. And now let's do our other hand. You can grab a tennis ball, just with that hand supported. Even at work, if you buy a tool, a massage tool, leave it, just buy one and leave it by your desk. You can find them on Amazon, where I got these. If it's on your desk, it'll remind you to take time out once in a while, or even while you're reading a few emails, to relax. You can even rest your hand on the desk, lifting up into the forearm. The palm side of the forearm is what clenches our fist, so that gets more tight. And now when you're ready, let's pull that palm back. Inhale, exhale, pull that hand back. Feel a nice stretch. These are also great stretches to help with avoiding or preventing carpal tunnel. Make sure you inhale and exhale, drawing those shoulder blades down. Inhale and heart to heaven. Nice stretch there. And now we can also go to, for those who have it available, you can rub our hips. We actually carry a lot of tension in too. Now there's several ways to do it. Kind of hard to show here on a picnic bench. But if you take and cradle your leg and then hold that leg, that foot, with the opposite hand and drop down onto the same elbow, you can roll that hip around, back and forth. And that really feels good. Rolling it around, get crazy with it. Or being careful, if you do have a tennis ball or a massage ball, you can even kind of sit on that and roll around a little bit, going to the other hip. And that loosens that up, feeling really good. Now, if you're on a bed, it's not going to be as effective because it's soft. And as we do this, make sure you don't cave in your shoulders, so lift them up and out. Rolling around. And again, if any area feels good, just go ahead and pause the video and stick with it for a few minutes. But go at it gently, and I always encourage soft face tolerance. So if you start making a face that isn't soft because it hurts, back her down, lighten up on the pressure, okay? It's a good guideline to follow. Once you've done the hips, the best part is to move into the feet. Now, I promised you we would use the heel to massage your foot. Now, if you were barefoot, how you could do this, again, you can't use your hand, but you can actually, your foot becomes a massage tool. If you have the flexibility, you can bring one leg up and use your heel on the other side and roll it all around in this foot. And if you even have some lotion, some favorite lotion to put on your feet, and stroke up and down with the other heel. It feels really good. Or another option is, let's go to the other foot and I'll show you if you can get, if you have the flexibility, you can actually even use your elbow and rub that foot all around in the arch and everywhere. Or if you don't have as much flexibility, a tennis ball or a massage tool, you can either stroke the base of that foot or even just hold on to palming the ball, the tennis ball or massage ball like I have, and just rolling it in one area, picking it up and rolling it in another area. And continue to work on that foot until it loosens up, going all through the arch. You even want to give your ankles some love, rubbing them out just a little bit. Okay? So this was a yoga practice, and with the end of every yoga practice, we go to Shavasana or the resting pose. Typically, it's laying down with your feet flopped out because you're relaxed and palms up. And I ask you to do that. Or if you're in bed, just relax back with your head back. Or if you're just sitting in a chair, just find a comfortable place to be where you're fully supported. And I'm going to have you focus back on our source that we first focused on, which was our breath. And remember, this is about self-care, protecting our source. Okay, whatever our source or our motivation, we need to protect that, but especially ourselves. And when we care for ourselves, we are truly caring for others. So at this moment, going back to the breath, as I said, I just want you to focus on your breath. Where are you feeling it at? Is it in a different place than you felt with your original baseline? Now count how many seconds in and how many seconds out you are breathing. This new breath pattern, where you feel it, and the count in and out, is it any different from your original baseline? If it's deeper or slower, this is probably your natural breath pattern. And whatever you came in with before you settled into the practice may be a gear slightly higher than what you need to be at. What you're feeling now, the relaxation. You're feeling a different area in your body that you may have massaged, starting with the crown of your head and noting it as you go down and feeling your temples, your jaw, the tops of your shoulders, your hands, your forearms, your hips, and your feet. To keep this slower breath pattern more relaxed, with your heart toward heaven, mentally focusing on the source, taking care of yourself. This is your feeling, this relaxation. Throughout the day, I encourage you to just take a moment, close your eyes, and work on that box pattern with your breathing, or take a few moments out with the tool, or even just glancing at the tool and closing your eyes, and flashing back to the sensation, and see if you can relax and drop down into it with a few deep breaths. And as you continue to relax, as we always end with a few scriptures and quotes about self-care, I want you to think of self-care, as we said, like breath or water. Our breath is optional. We can hold it, but it's not an option. We die without it. Or water, it is optional. We don't have to drink, but it's not an option. And ultimately, self-care is optional, but it's not an option. If we don't take the time to care for ourselves, we either get sick or we get burnt out, or we get so irritable nobody's going to want to be around us for us to care for them. Another thought on self-care is giving the best of you instead of what's left of you. Another concept of self-care, if we feel guilty because we think we're indulging ourselves, when we take a moment to take that hot bath, or to massage ourselves, or to shut the door for a nap, here's where the balance is. Self-care is preservation of your treasure to share. Self-care is preservation of your treasure to share. Self-indulgence is acquiring more treasure to show. Again, self-care is preservation to share. Self-indulgence is acquiring to show. And finally, a last thought, the best way you can show self-care is not only how you treat yourself, but how you talk to yourself. A lot of times we're not aware of how we talk to ourselves. We get so frustrated. Like for me, oh Laura, you idiot. Oh Laura, how could you do that? Or oh Laura, it figures. We need to speak to ourselves more kindly, more gently, and the way our Creator speaks to us. And hear this scripture from Isaiah 43, 1 through 4, where God speaks directly to us. It says, "But now, this is what the Lord says. He who formed you, your Maker declares, do not fear. I have redeemed you. I call you personally and individually by your name. When you pass through the storms, I will be with you. You will not be swept away, for I am. I am the Lord your God and your Savior. You are precious and cherished. You are honored in my sight because I love you. Isaiah 43, verse 4. You are precious and cherished by me. You are honored in my sight. In our own Maker's sight, who knows everything about us, in his sight, he honors us. He finds us precious, and he cherishes us. Nobody else's sight, his sight. And if that's how God sees you, and he says he sees us this way because he just loves us, if that's how God sees us, that's how we should try and see ourselves. And if that's the way God talks to us, saying we are precious and honored and I love you, that's the way we should talk to ourselves. Speaking the truth, but tenderly, lovingly, and kindly. And if we talk to ourselves that way, we might have a different attitude towards others also. And again, this practice goes further. Self-caring for ourselves is caring for others. When you're ready, slowly come upright in your chair or sit up and laying down. And open your eyes. I know some of you personally, and I want to thank you for doing this today. And for anybody else, you are precious and honored. And I thank you so much, and I'm honored by you. I honor you for taking your time to listen to this. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself.